everywhere. And they're listening. The alphabet people, they're out to get us. But for real, okay, with all the stuff going on in the news and everything happening with iOS, Google Android, I think it's been well documented that our phones are basically spying on us. And I don't think it's any stretch of the imagination. It's been happening for years, and it just keeps getting worse. Well, this past week, with the advent of a lot of the virus stuff, and if you're not familiar, there's basically Bluetooth programs that you can opt into to where if you and another person that's opted into get close to each other in close proximity and somebody tests positive, it'll basically say, hey, this person tested positive and you were in Bluetooth range of this person, so you might get tested or something of that nature is the too long didn't listen to about that. However, I look at this and there was Wi-Fi triangulation, there's Wi-Fi scanning, there's a lot of other really egregious tools on our phones at this time that I'm just so done with Android. I'm so done with iOS. They're both horrible when it comes to privacy or security. And this was just kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back for me. So with all that out of the way, let's get into what I've done. I've actually de-Googled my phone. Now, what does that entail? And basically what I'm saying when I say de-Google my phone, which this is a Google Pixel, which is actually one of the best phones to de-Google. A little ironic. But this phone basically does not have any Google services on it, meaning I cannot tie into pretty much any Google application on this phone or anything that uses Google services to an extent. So with that, let's actually get on the desktop, go over the phone. I'll hook it up. We'll pull it up on the screen because I've done past videos going over Linux phones and more open source phones that I think will be the future, but they're just not quite there yet. Like my Pine phone, I got a development model and a dev build is just not ready for a daily driver yet. Probably about a year from now before I can really start using it as a daily driver. But with everything going on in the world right now, I was like, all right, I got to make the switch. So what's the best way to take an Android, because this is a Pixel 3 phone, and remove Google from it? And this is actually one of the easiest ones to do. It's actually not very difficult at all. So let's get on the desktop and go over it. I do live stream every Monday and Friday, so if you have a question for me, be sure and stop into my Twitch channel and ask me live. And if you'd like to check out these streams after the fact, you can always head over to Chris Titus Tech Streams and check out my entire archive over there. All right, so this looks very much like a regular Google phone, and it has most of the Google applications in it. I've installed a combination of two things. Now, there is something in this video that I'm not going to talk about. It's called Micro G. This is actually sends a bunch of misinformation, but still utilizes Google services. However, this is a way to basically have some type of privacy by sending misinformation. For this video, I am not using Micro G as I'm using GrapheneOS. It's a bit different than a custom ROM like Lineage OS or any of the others, because this one is built with security and privacy in mind. And with that in mind, it is not rooted. There is no anything, it has a locked bootloader now. I unlocked it, loaded it all, locked it back up. So it's very secure, very private oriented, but it does not have any Google services. So I've went ahead and installed a whole bunch of different stuff, and I'm going to explain the differences between each one and what it looks like if you want somewhat of a secure and private phone. Obviously, you're still going to send some data, but hopefully this clears up a lot of the actual Wi-Fi triangulation, opting in for a lot of the Google services stuff. There's a lot of things this does really well. It's still not perfect, as I would think a Linux phone would be probably my perfect solution once it gets polished. But with services or the actual stores, there's two stores I use. F-Droid, and this is basically a free and open store. So I've actually just got done importing all my contacts, so that was why that was in there. But this is just apps that are completely open source and completely free. Nothing else makes it onto the store that isn't fit that criteria. So very important to note. However, it does not have a lot of apps in it, as you can imagine. I think it only has a couple thousand apps compared to like the millions in the Google Play Store. And with that in mind, there's something called the Aurora Store. So here is the Aurora App Store. If you go here, you'll notice it's just an anonymous login. It does prompt you if you want to enter your Google password in Google identifier to download apps from the App Store. Since this store breaks Google's terms of service, you could definitely get banned. And since I obviously am on YouTube, I definitely don't want to risk my Google account getting banned from using something like this. So I did not connect any of my Google stuff. So if it has a Google sign-in, my Google sign-in is associated with it, I can't use it, period. So I want to just kind of get that out of the way. And for this kind of allows you to install a bunch of apps that could work without Google services. And what are those is probably the next question. And let's go back to my home here because I've been tinkering around with this for pretty much the past couple days. Under devices, you can see a bunch of different proprietary drivers or devices that I use on a semi-daily basis. Like here's a smart home plug that I have from TP-Link, GoPro. And when you launch these, you'll notice that you do get an error message. GoPro won't work without a Google Play services, which are not supported by this device. Hit OK. And guess what? You can actually access these. So if we hit allow, it'll actually still be able to use it. Even with that error message, as annoying as that error message is, I can still connect a GoPro. So let me do that real fast. All right, so my GoPro's up and going. Let's see if we can connect to it using the phone. And we'll choose a camera. This is the GoPro Hero 8. Scroll down to Preferences. We found your GoPro. We'll hit Connect. All right. I had a little DNS filtering service just to block ads and stuff. Let's see if we can view it now. I disabled that, so we're going to try and connect again. Hey, yeah, there it is. Sweet. So with that done, let's now try and control the GoPro. Enable preview. See if I can't grab it from there and see what we get. You get to see what my desk looks like if it works. Oh, that's cool. All right, neat. You can see all the stuff around here. Whoa. Actually, let's go long ways with it. Oh, man. That's cool. That's pretty darn cool. So anyways, neat little GoPro app, messing around with that. That's just fun. We'll back out of that. And that's GoPro, and we'll just kill it. All right. In that same vein, a lot of these same ones work kind of the same way. So you got the Yi, you can see I got the little dome camera above me. That's up there. And I can control that with this little app. Move it around. Let's see what we get. Wrong way. So we can move this around a bit and pan up and down. So let's pan this way. Get a little bit more of the desk. So that's just some software that I have that you can actually use to do this and that. So we'll quit out of it. And I just wanted to kind of showcase the devices as anything that has a Google login is going to give an error. So like Starbucks has a Google login, but will work using the Starbucks app without an actual Google Play service connected. It doesn't actually give you notifications, but I hate notifications, so that actually is okay for me. If you need notifications and you're using a lot of Google Android apps, this is not the solution for you. I tried about 7 or 8 different banking apps just to see what they would say. Banking apps have no connection to any Google services because they're more privacy and security focused. So every single one of them worked. So chances are your bank will work just fine. I do have a bunch of Synology stuff, like for photo backups, drive connections, all the Synology stuff. All their apps work just fine. Steam also worked out great. I always use Lichess or LI-Chess for playing chess on my phone. It works great. No errors there. Spotify will give an initial error, but when you're logging in, as long as you're not using your Google to log into Spotify, and you can log in with an email address and a password like a normal person, you can just launch right into Spotify, not have any issues, and do all the stuff you need to do. So we'll just go ahead and close all that. And once that's closed, the only really other things I would want to mention here is I have a bunch of different FOSS-based apps, which is free and open source-based applications. I do use Patreon. That does give me an error every time I launch in it because I like to communicate back and forth with any patrons that I have. So I'll go in here, talk to people, send back any messages I get, I can respond to in the app, but I do have that initial error message because Patreon has a Google Connect to log into. Obviously, I don't use that. I use an independent email address and password, as you need to separate everything from a Google login to utilize this correctly. These 4 apps that I use from the FOSS-based stuff, though, Slides, Reddit. NewPipe is YouTube, kind of. You can't log into YouTube, so I can't like answer comments. I can't see my analytics. I can't do a lot of the functions I like to do on YouTube. But if I just want to watch someone's stuff, I can actually pull it in here and watch it. It does have like a subscription sync service where I can actually pull down a file and sync up a lot of my subscriptions. So I can see my subscriptions on here by doing like a one-way sync, or a one-time sync, I should say, and then kind of have it, but it's not universal. There is no Google login. TWire is a Twitch alternative. So if I want to watch a Twitch stream, I can go ahead, pull these up and watch a Twitch stream. Now, I did try to log in here. I have 2-factor on everything. Since I have 2-factor, sadly, I cannot log in. It just keeps kicking me back to the screen. I imagine it's because I have 2-factor enabled. If you don't use 2-factor, you might be able to use this app with your login. However, if you don't, you can still browse around, pull up Twitch streams and watch them. So if you pull up, let's say, Chris Titus Tech, let's see what we get. So if we search for Chris Titus Tech and go to streamers, pull up me, and go to broadcast, let's see if it'll actually pull up actual clip it. There it is. So it does allow me to do that. So that's pretty darn good, you know, as far as that goes. So I can watch streamers on here. I just can't really log in. I think they're still working on that functionality, or it can be hit and miss. And then we have the Twedere, or Twitter, as some people say. So I get on here, read the feed. I like this a lot better because there's no promoted or crap that gets thrown in here, no ads, which is great. So I can easily flip through, see, hey, have I been mentioned anywhere? Highlight it. I can hit like on stuff. So if I hit that, should say tweet liked. I did notice sometimes I have to refresh and then click the heart, or it says like network data error. I had that happen a couple times. But honestly, I'd rather that than see a bunch of ads of like half-naked girls fill up my feed because that was like a promoted ad or whatever it might be. It's all just the stuff I follow, which is actually really nice. So this is just kind of like an overview. In my next video, I'm going to go more into like GrapheneOS. Let's go ahead and pull that up, and I'll show you that real fast just to kind of give you an idea of what GrapheneOS is. And it is an open source, privacy and security focused mobile OS with Android app capabilities. That's pretty much it. It's really darn good. I love it. They've actually done some fantastic things. I think it's one guy, and to kind of finish this video out, just to say, hey, thank you for making a DeGoogled version of Android. I want to donate to him. And if you do end up using this on a Google Pixel phone, maybe you own, definitely do the same. So let's take our app and do a donation real fast and see what we get. So for this, we'll actually donate to his Bitcoin. I think I have some Bitcoin in my Coinbase wallet. So let's use GrapheneOS and the Coinbase application to send the developer of this project some Bitcoin, because why not send digital money? I think in the spirit of this exercise, I think that would be perfect. So we'll do Coinbase, and we're just going to go ahead. I have $10 sitting in my balance. We'll just send to another crypto wallet. We're going to just send all of this, hit continue, and not now. And then we're going to go ahead and paste it into that wallet. So let's grab his address. So I'll copy that in. It ends in BYR5 and starts with 3Q. So let's see if I can't paste this in here. Boom. Thank you for making GrapheneOS. And then we'll hit continue. And we'll go ahead and send him $10.44, or actually $10.14 after Bitcoin fees. So we'll go ahead and hit send. And there we go. It sent it over to him. I can check on that real fast just to make sure. And there it is. We sent him this on the Bitcoin chain, so donated about $10.44 to this wonderful, wonderful maker. And again, if you do end up using this software, by all means, donate to his creator, because otherwise we're just relying on everyone else to do whatever they want with our smartphones. Giving us freedom should be worth some money. I know a lot of people feel like, hey, if it's free and open software, you should never pay any money. That's not how this works. These people should be rewarded for the projects they have created, and I want to show them some love. So with that, I will leave you here. This is fantastic. Use it, GrapheneOS. On the next video, I'll got to show through all the different things, all the different alternatives for apps, what has worked, what hasn't worked. I have a running list. I have some caveats here, is like getting Bluetooth set up, and then also importing my contacts was a little bit tricky, so I can go through some of these processes, and also just how to install it. It was a pretty basic install. If you've unlocked a bootloader and you've used ADB from a terminal before, you're going to be right at home. Honestly, it's probably one of the easiest flashes I've ever done on a phone. I know back in the day it was just such a pain, and these days it's nothing on a Google Pixel phone. They've done well making that phone. So big shout out to all my patrons. Thank you for all the support. And with that, I'll see you in the next one.